Hi, Counselor Fortini. Can we test your mic?
Yes, good evening. I'm here. Thank you. I can hear you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Check 1 2. Testing audio. Check 1 2.
Hi, Counselor Santos. Can we test your mic?
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Counselor Vicente. Can we test your mic?
Yep, sounds good.
Thank you, Counselor. Hi, Counselor Tour. Can we test your mic?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the planning meeting of Monday, November 3rd. I'll start with roll call. Deputy Mayor Singh. Present. Councillor Santos.
Present.
Councillor Vincente.
Present.
Councillor Corbrar. Councillor Barr's not on yet? Okay. Councillor Keenan. Present. Councillor Medeiros. Not yet. Councillor Fortini.
Present.
Councillor Tour.
Present.
Councillor Power. I'll go back. Councillor Barr, no? And no regrets? Councillor Medeiros? No regrets? Okay, so we'll look for them to come on. We have approval of the agenda. At the start of the approval, I would like to add, I'm gonna add, staff report item on, which is 8.1 on Bill 60, but then I'm also taking that report and I'm referring it to committee next week. I think it's an important bill. We can dub it the province interfering with municipal work bill. And we'll defer it to committee next week and have staff give a presentation along with government relations. And then we'll have, I think, hopefully more of a committee presence at that meeting. Other than that, that's the approval of the agenda. Moved by Deputy Mayor Singh. Anybody else like to add, remove, delete anything? Seeing none. All in favor? That carries. Declarations of conflict of interest. Any members would like to declare a conflict on anything on the agenda here today? Seeing none. The consent motion. The items that I have that are up for consent are items 7.1, Tribute Railroad Street, application to amend the zoning bylaw, proposed to facilitate the development of 2 towers, 57 and 60 stories on a 13-story podium. Location at 16, 19, 23, 27, 31, and 35 Railroad Street, 48, 50, and 52 Mill Street, and 55 and 59 Elizabeth Street North. Anybody like to hold that? Seeing none, that's consent. Item 7.2 is an application to amend the official plan zoning bylaw 2766321 Ontario Inc., Gania Walker Domes, to facilitate the development of one high-density mixed-use tower with a height of 15 stories, 242 residential units, and 504 square meters of commercial floor area. Anybody like to hold that item? Seeing none, it's in consent. I'll be holding 7.3. The delegation for 7.2 is removing his name from that delegation list. 8.1 was added. 9.1, minutes, active transportation advisory committee. Anybody like to hold that item? It's in consent. And then 11.1, and that's it. Councillor Keenan, you move the consent agenda. All in favor? Bless you. That carries. So I'll roll back to our statutory public meeting, as we have no general delegations. Our statutory public meeting, just for everybody's awareness, or I'll ask first, is anybody here to hear the staff presentation on the application to amend the official plan zoning bylaw Georgian Mayfield Inc. to permit 178 stacked back-to-back townhouse units on a high-density block at 6875 and 6889 Mayfield Road. Lots of people are here to hear that staff report. Okay. I'll just, while I have Sadaf coming up to do the presentation, I'll just remind everybody that everybody here for this presentation, this is the first presentation that the applicant has brought forward to the city. This presentation is not for members of the committee. Members of the committee will not be making any decisions here tonight on this application other than receiving the information. I will not allow members of council to ask any questions or anything like that unless there's clarification questions, but typically there isn't. It's not a time for any member of committee to ask any questions or to provide any input on this item. This item, the only reason it's here today is for the public. It's for you and you only. So that's what this presentation is about. The applicant has provided the information. This will be the statutory public meeting where you are provided the opportunity to listen to hear what's being planned, what potentially is being planned. Any of your comments, questions will be taken in by staff and will be added to the report once the report is written. Then it comes back for council and committee to debate the issue, okay? To debate the item. So just a reminder, it's not a city initiated application. It is a landowner initiated application. We do have some delegations, 4 delegations. And when those delegations come up, I'll also be providing some other comments about making sure your phone is off, making sure it's inaudible. It's difficult for some people when they come out to public speak, and I certainly don't want any disturbances going on in the audience. If your phone does go off because you weren't able to shut it off, I'm going to give you a little look, an evil look. But if it goes off again, I'm going to ask you to leave. Okay? With that, I'll ask staff to go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee, members of the public, and city colleagues. My name is Sadaf Shahid Hussain, and I'm the planner assigned to process and review the subject application. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by Glenn Starr & Associates, Inc. on behalf of Georgian Mayfield, Inc. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in Ward 10 with the municipal address of 6875 and 6889 Mayfield Road. The site is located west of McBean Drive and south of Mayfield Road. Next slide, please. This map shows an overview of the subject site within the property and surrounding land uses. To the north, you'll see Mayfield Road, beyond which is the town of Caledon and agricultural uses. To the south, agricultural uses, open space, and land zone residential rural estate, and residential single detached, consisting of executive single detached dwellings. To the east, land zoned residential single detached with existing single detached dwellings, beyond which is McBean Road, and land zone C2 with an existing commercial plaza. And to the west, existing natural heritage system, beyond which are land zone residential single detached with existing executive single detached dwellings. Next slide, please. This slide shows an aerial photo of the site, and the site has access to Mayfield Road. Next slide, please. The following slides show photographs taken from the site visit conducted. Next slide, please. The applicant has submitted an application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw to increase the density from the previous Ontario Land Tribunal approval, which approved 84 back-to-back townhouses. The new proposal consists of 178 stacked back-to-back townhouses spread across 7 three-story townhouse blocks with a rooftop terrace, unit sizes ranging from 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units, 293 total parking spaces, 282 underground and 11 surface, and 820 square meters of outdoor amenity space. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing recommendations and advancing associated final report to council, this development application will be further evaluated for compliance with the Planning Act as amended, consistency with the provincial policy statement, and conformity to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe as amended, and conformity to the in effect Region of Peel official plan, the City of Brampton official plan, and its Vales of Humber secondary plan. Next slide, please. The subject site for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is designated residential and open space in the City of Brampton's official plan, which permits a full range of dwelling types from single detached houses to high-rise apartments. The proposed development does not require an amendment to the official plan. Next slide, please. Through OLT OPA 1/2023, the subject lands have a site-specific Special Policy Area 4B designation that permits the prior development of 84 back-to-back townhouses. An amendment to Special Policy Area 4B is required for the proposed development. Next slide, please. Under the council-approved Brampton Plan, the subject site for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is designated Community Area within Schedule 1A City Structure and Neighborhoods within Schedule 2 designations of the Brampton Plan. These designations permit a mix of building types based on their location within the city structure, from single detached houses to high-rise apartments. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located within the Vales of Humber Secondary Plan Area 50, which was also amended through the prior OLT decision OPA 1/2023 to permit the previous development application. That OPA amended the secondary plan to identify the subject lands as Special Policy Area 2, which permits townhouses, semi-detached, and detached dwellings with a maximum combined density of 61 units per hectare. Therefore, an amendment to the secondary plan is required to facilitate the proposed uses. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located within the Vales of Humber Secondary Plan, Block Plan 51 and 52 area. Per OLT decision OPA 1/2023, the subject lands were added to the new Special Policy Area 2 area. An amendment to the block plan is required to facilitate the proposed uses. Next slide, please. Through OLT ZB 1/2023, the City of Brampton zoning bylaw 270/2004 was amended to rezone the subject lands from residential rural estate holding to residential townhouse C, residential townhouse A4, residential single detached F, open space, and floodplain. An amendment to the zoning bylaw is required. Next slide, please. The Vales of Humber Secondary Plan designates the subject lands as Special Policy Area 2, which permits townhouse, semi-detached, and detached dwellings with a maximum combined density of 61 units per net hectare. An amendment is required to the Special Policy Area 2 within Vales of Humber Secondary Plan to add the following permissions: stacked townhouses, back-to-back townhouses, townhouses, semi-detached, and detached dwellings, a maximum combined density of 118 units per net hectare. Stacked townhouses shall contain a maximum of 32 units per block. Next slide, please. To permit the proposed 178 stacked back-to-back townhouse dwellings, the residential townhouse A4 zone is proposed to be rezoned to residential apartment A with site-specific zoning permissions. Next slide, please. This shows the site plan of the proposal. At this time, preliminary issues and considerations that will need to be addressed include appropriateness of the increased density and proposed built form relative to the existing upscale executive housing units, opportunity to add additional housing in Brampton, contributing to Brampton's housing pledge, potential impacts resulting from increased traffic due to the introduction of greater density, potential disruptions during construction activity, including noise and dust, proposed removal of trees, and dedication of the NHS block through the concurrent subdivision application. Next slide, please. Staff is hosting a statutory public meeting this evening to share information of the proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendment on the subject site and provide an opportunity for members of the public to express comments, perspectives, and opinions. Staff will continue to review the applicant's planning rationale and supporting plans, drawings, and technical comments, and staff will advance a final recommendation report for council decision in the future based on the details of the proposed development and applicable planning laws and policies, while also incorporating comments and considerations from community members, technical reviewers, and other stakeholders. Staff will also follow up with members of the public and other stakeholders who have spoken, written in, or advised of an interest in monitoring this proposal. Next slide, please. For more information on the development proposal, the applicant's submission materials, including architectural plans, drawings, and supporting studies, are publicly accessible through the city's Brand Plan online portal. Type the file number of the application in the required field, which is OZS 2025-0029. This brings up the file page, where by clicking the File Info tab, you will be allowed to view all drawings and documents associated with this development application. Next slide, please. This public meeting presentation will be available online as part of the Planning and Development Committee meeting minutes shortly. The final recommendation report will be posted on the city's PDC meeting agenda in advance of the future meeting. For any questions or comments about this development application, please contact myself, my manager, or the applicant, Ethan Bonnert, who is representing Glenn Schnarr and Associates, Inc. The corresponding contact information is shown on the screen. Next slide, please. Thank you and have a good evening.
Excellent, well done, Sadaf, thank you very much. Gurmeet Singh Gujral. Welcome, sir, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. So first of all, the name correction, it's Gurjeet Singh Gujral. And
Jeet? I have Gurmeet.
it's Gurjeet Singh Gujral, J-E-E-T. I just corrected
What's spelled wrong,
spelling error.
right? Okay.
So good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Regional Councillor 9 and 10, and all the members of the council. I am Gurjeet. I'm the resident of the Vales of Humber, West River Valley community, and this community, which has been highly impacted by this zoning bylaw amendment. I'm speaking here tonight to outrightly oppose this zoning bylaw amendment to increase from 84 townhouses to 178 back-to-back townhouses. I would like to first of all thank the council for pre-informing the residents by giving them the letter, timely informing them of this amendment. This area, as advertised by the builders and in the city maps, is for the estate lots, green space, as well as for the recreation area. We as a residents, when we bought the property, all the residents over here paid more than $2 million. Somebody paid more than $2.5 million to live in the low density area. We also pay the highest property taxes. We really felt hurt and wounded when we moved into this area in 2023 that Ontario Land Tribunal has passed along with the City Hall, has passed 84 townhouses. No public consultation was done during that time. There was nobody living over there. I don't know whether the trees and bushes have been consulted to pass on that thing. Now we have been wounded. Now to brush, the salt on the wounds, the builder has proposed 178 stacked townhouses, back-to-back townhouses. This is pure greed of the builders. The entire neighborhood is low-density area. High-density stacked townhouses are not compatible to the entire neighborhood, as it does not fit the social, environmental, as well as the architectural fabric of the area. Not only this amendment, we also propose to the city to cancel the 84 townhouses that has been passed without any public consultation. And also we believe in our elected representatives whom we have elected them to power into the city hall to speak on behalf of the residents. We have all the residents of the area present over here, and also a joint letter has been sent to the mayor, deputy mayor, and to the regional councillor, as well as to the MPP today. And we really thank the city council to give us the time and the opportunity to speak on behalf of, we want to oppose for this zoning bylaw, and also thank the community members who have delegated me to speak. This has to be outrightly, negated, and it's totally been opposed by the whole community members. 100% of the community members are opposing this movement. Thank you very much, City Council. And there are a lot of other delegates who are representing here. Somehow they could not register their name when the letter was being sent, or the names have been called today. They would also like to speak, and I will request the City Council to allow them to speak here as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your delegation. So just to let you know, we do provide that. It's already something that we provide for anybody else from the public that wishes to come down and speak.
Sure.
On statutory public meetings. And then just for clarification on your point about council has never approved any application for this site. It was the OLT, the province approved the application. The original.
When we knew about this, when we came to know about this, about the OLT, we have written to the MPPs at that time also, but they said it has already been passed. But if you see to the site, it's a green space area, it's a recreational area.
No, I realize that, but just to your comment,
Yeah.
council has never
Okay,
approved an application.
okay, got it,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Sir.
Thank you very much, Gurjeet. Next we have Kush Kismat, Singrol, online. Oh, you came? I thought we had you online. Thank you for coming.
I didn't want to miss the chance to
Oh, good, very good, appreciate it. You have 5 minutes.
everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, as Mr. Gurjeet has covered pretty much most of the majority of it. It's a big concern to all of us. Me having 3 young kids, I'm mostly concerned about the traffic and safety. That's gonna come with 178 units, which were initially 80 something. So please, if you guys can consider it, I won't take much of your time. That's all, thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next we have Ramanpreet, which we believe Ramanpreet is online.
She was not well, she was not able to make it.
Not online. Okay, and then we have Surinder. Surinder?
Hi. Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I just want to say I want to oppose this because when we bought this place, we were not aware that they're going to pass this legislation by giving the builder authority to make 178 townhouses, because we were sold these houses as estate homes, and this is going to cause a huge mess with the safety issues, with children's playing around, and we have a small park, and also the concern about the traffic. So I just want to oppose this. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. So that concludes the listed delegations. Now we'd like to open it up to the audience. If there's anybody that would like to come down and provide and ask any questions or provide any comments on this application, now's your time to do so. We have Chandra that'll be coming around After you state your name for the record, anybody else that would like to come down, I'd ask them to come down, put your name in the book, and we can start a lineup behind this gentleman, please. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening, my name is Shamsher Gill, and I'm the resident of the neighborhood, and I oppose the proposal as this small home project will adversely affect the value of our detached homes. Had we been aware of this new project of small homes next door, we would not have invested between $2 to $2.5 million in each home, which is a quite big amount in this kind of market as well. We do understand that purchasing a larger home in proximity to smaller houses negatively influences the value of larger properties. The entire area plan should have been developed at the same time of the approval of our subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next, Chandra. Please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Simran Grang, and another point that I really like to bring up regarding this matter is that we're going to be losing the open and green space that is present in our neighborhood currently. If this project moves forward, we'll lose the trees that clean our air and the open land where our children play, and the natural buffer that keeps our area quiet. And the thing is, once this goes away, it will never return. We all understand that growth is important, but it also needs to be thoughtful. Packing dense townhouses beside large estate lots and getting rid of open green space and natural change and nature changes the character of our community forever. I ask the council to please protect the integrity of our neighborhood and preserve the green spaces that makes this area worth living in. Thank you.
Samir, thank you for your delegation. Hi, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, City Councillors, and City staff. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. My name is Sabhyata Kansal, and I'm a resident of the City of Brampton, speaking in opposition to zoning by law amendment for Mayfield Road. First, I want to acknowledge the importance of growth and housing. Growth and housing is very important for the development of any country. However, growth must be balanced, especially for children and our seniors. Is it okay?
Sorry, no, I'm trying to get something.
Okay.
I apologize, we're not trying to interrupt you. You please go ahead.
We are a small community and we are already experiencing a serious lack of public park space. If more housing is added, then our families will be pushed into unsafe spaces. Adding more housing density will limit access to outdoor recreation, which is critical for physical health, mental well-being, and community connection for our kids and our seniors. There are several real-world impacts on children and seniors when housing density is increased in small neighborhoods. First, I would like to bring your attention to the impacts of added housing on our kids. Less access to safe outdoor play. We, a small community, rely on local parks. When more families move in, then play space becomes overcrowded. Children are pushed into parking lots and streets, and that will eventually increase unsafe play behavior. More housing will increase risk of traffic accidents. More units, meaning more cars. Children are among the highest risk group of vehicle collision due to lower visibility and unpredictable movements. Narrow local roads gets congested, resulting into increased collision probability. This will also raise mental health and development concerns for our kids. Research shows lack of outdoor activities can cause anxiety, poor social skill development, increased screen dependence, which is already a concern these days. Overcrowded parks reduce opportunity for active, healthy childhood development. Along with the kids, our seniors will also have huge impact if more housing is added in our community. For example, higher fall and injury risk. From congested streets, seniors are more likely to trip on busy sidewalks, feel rushed by vehicles. Eventually, they will start avoiding outdoor walk due to the fear of cars. That will result in reduced mobility and hence faster decline in their health. There will be loss of quiet environment. Increased traffic, noise, and street parking can cause stress, sleep disturbance, and we all know that our seniors depend on calm surroundings. There will be reduced social interactions when community park spaces are full. Seniors will be pushed to stay indoors. That will lead to isolation, depression, and also there will be delayed emergency responses. More units meaning more cars, and that will lead to blocked roads. Ambulances and fire trucks may face delays which are critical for elderly patients. In the end, all I can say is that our children and seniors cannot advocate for themselves. It is our duty to protect their safety, health, and quality of their life. On behalf of our kids, seniors, we request all city officials to stop this zoning by law for Mayfield Road. And also, we strongly believe that our voices will be heard and housing development that places profit over people will be stopped. I hope everyone has good rest of their day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your delegation. Hello, welcome.
Hello, my name is Sanjeev. I'm a resident of Humber community. I'm here to oppose that amendment. So that will leave us to a high traffic in our community and a lot of safety challenges, which are the following: increasing congestion. So we already have a lot of congestion in that neighborhood, and adding more, it will lead to more congestion, which will end up in an accident, and more things could happen, especially in the morning time, evening rush hour, and school bus time. We go to pick up our kids. We don't want cars go around and that area. Parking. We already have a lot of parking issue in our neighborhood. Adding those townhouses, those parking will be spill over into our neighborhood, which will create more chaos in our neighborhood. On top of it, our emergency vehicle, police, ambulance, or fire trucks won't be able to access because of the parking and space we have available there. Not to forget about a snow plower. We already have a problem with the snow. When we have one car there in the middle, they cannot plow the road. Once you have two cars, they're done deal over there. So and the garbage removal, I don't think so they can cross through this and to pick up garbage once you have a two-car parked side by side. So this is another noise, as all other members mentioned. We already have enough noise coming from Mayfield. Even we have retainer walls. Adding more traffic, it will create more noise, which will create a lot of problem in our neighborhood, and it will disturb our peace of our nice small neighborhood. Criminal activity. So a lot of things will come along with this. As a community, we will take care of each other. Once you have a neighbor, people coming from outskirts and small townhouses, it will create a more hectic in our neighborhood. We just request that we opposing this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, welcome.
Hey, my name is Amandeep Pabla. I'm a resident of the Vales of Humber. I do oppose this subdivision that's going on for townhouses, mainly for the overcrowding reasons. When townhouses are coming in a specific neighborhood, there's a different demographic that is coming in compared to all the estate homes that are currently here. So I think just overcrowding, as well as traffic issues, as well as the increase in crime rate could be a possibility. So that's the reason for opposing for today. So hopefully our request is heard. Thank you.
Thank you for your delegation. Welcome. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Please state your name.
My name is Dilraj Singh Sodhi,
Okay, go ahead.
and I'm 12 years old. I live right here in this neighborhood, and I'm speaking today on behalf of all the kids who live here, the ones who play in our park, walk to school, and call this community their home. I may be young, but I care deeply about where I live, and I hope you will listen to our voices, because I strongly believe that kids deserve to be heard too. Our neighborhood is small, but you know what's even smaller? Our neighborhood's park. Our neighborhood is a small, peaceful, and it's surrounded by beautiful homes that families have worked really hard for. It is the kind of place where people wave to each other, where kids can ride their bikes safely, and where parents feel comfortable letting us play outside. But one thing we do not have is a lot of space. We have one small park, and that park is our favorite spot. It's where us kids play soccer, ride our scooters, swing, and talk after school. It's not just a park. It's where we build memories and friendships. If townhouses are built nearby, that small park will certainly have to be shared with hundreds of more people. It could become overcrowded, noisy, or even unsafe for younger children. There might not be enough room for everyone to play. We are not asking for much, just to keep the little space we have. Kids today already spend so much time indoors. The park is one of the few places where we can disconnect from our screens and connect with nature. Secondly, more houses means more cars and less safety. Our community streets are quiet right now, which is great for families. Kids walk, ride bikes, and play basketball in the driveways. But when new townhouses are built, more houses will mean more cars,
and more cars will mean less safety. We will have construction trucks first, loud, dusty, and dangerous for anyone walking by. And after that, we will have dozens of new families moving in, all with their own cars, guests, and deliveries. Suddenly, our calm and quiet streets will be filled with traffic. It will be harder to cross the road safely, harder to walk to school, and harder to enjoy the peaceful neighborhood we once had. Even though we are kids, we notice these things. We notice when the streets get busier. We notice when our parents start saying, "Hey son, you cannot bike there anymore. It's not safe." Third, the character of our community will be impacted and it will change. People choose to live here for a reason. Our neighborhood is made of large family homes, mostly worth over $2 million. And the families who live here care deeply about keeping it safe, calm, and welcoming. Building high-density housing is like townhouses changing the balance of the community. It brings more people into a space that was not designed for that many cars, kids, and homes. The peaceful, quiet environment that families work for could disappear. We understand that Brampton is growing, but growth should be planned carefully. It should not come at the cost of the families and children who already live here. There are other areas in Brampton that are better suited for new development, places with more space, schools, and larger parks. Next, the construction process, which will be hard on everyone. Even before the new homes are built, the construction process will cause a lot of problems. There will be noise, dust, heavy trucks, and safety risks. For adults, that just means more stress and inconvenience. But for us kids, it means months or even years of not being able to play safely outside. Imagine trying to ride your bike or walk your dog while dump trucks are passing by. Imagine trying to sleep or do homework with constant drilling and banging. That's just not fair to the families who already live here, and it's not fair to the kids who just want to enjoy their childhood in peace. Fifth, I want to be clear about this. We're not against growth. We want smart growth. I want to be clear. We're not against people moving into Brampton. We understand that more homes are needed for more families, but growth needs to be smart and respectful. Instead of squeezing more homes into small, quiet communities, the city should plan developments where there is enough room for new schools, big parks, and safe streets. We believe that good planning means thinking about everyone, not just numbers and buildings, but the children, families, and memories that make a neighborhood special. Lastly, a message from me. We, the kids of this neighborhood, we love our home. We love that we can ride our bikes safely. We love our little park. We love the quiet evenings where families walk their dogs and say hi to each other. Please don't take that away from us. We may be young, but this is our home too. And we deserve to grow up in a community that values safety, peace, and space to play. So today, on behalf of the children here, I'm asking you, please rethink the plan to build townhouses in our neighborhood. Listen to the voices of the families who live here. Listen to the voices of the kids. Because after all, we are the future of this community. Thank you for listening. Dilbar.
Well, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. Good for you. Well done. That was fantastic. I have a group of planners that are up top, and they're just all smiles. Once you're out of high school and you going through university, you want a co-op, you come back to the city of Brampton, okay? We got you.
Councilor Palacio, this is Councilor Tour speaking.
Thank you for your delegation. Councilor Tour?
Yes, just quickly to the delegate, through you, Mr. Chair. To the delegate that was just here before, thank you, young man. You spoke really well, like the chair has said. And thank you for coming out tonight and representing all the young kids in that community. I hope they treat you much better at the playground now when they see you. You're a natural leader for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Tour. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Good evening, councillors, member of staff, and my fellow residents of Brampton. This is Sukhjit Chahal, and I came here before you tonight as a proud resident of Ward 10, living in 42 Jura Crescent. I stand here deeply concerned about the proposed development of 178 new houses near Mayfield Road and McQueen Drive. While I understand that Brampton needs housing, but I strongly oppose this project in the current form due to the severe school shortage and growing education crisis in our community. What's at stake? The area around Mayfield and McQueen is already struggling with rapid population growth. Adding 178 more houses means dozens of new children entering our already overcrowded schools. Mayfield School is currently operating nearly full capacity. Local elementary schools are overflowing and new families are being forced to bus their children far from home just to find an available seat. The problem we face if this development is approved prematurely, the consequences will be serious. Overcrowded classrooms, children bused far away, increased pressure on community infrastructure, including childcare and after-school programs. Our children deserve better. My request to Council, and I respectfully urge the Council to defer or reject this proposal. An education impact assessment is completed showing where and how new students will be accommodated. A school capacity guarantee from the Peel District School Board or developer ensures adequate classroom spaces and towards school land and infrastructures are clearly defined, phased approval with housing construction tied to actual school openings. With the conclusion, I ask this council to stand with the families, children, and educators, delay approval or defer these house developments until adequate school facilities are in place. Let's ensure that when new families move into Brampton, their children can attend schools that are local, well-equipped, and ready to inspire. Thank you for your time and your commitment for us.
Thank you for your delegation. Hi, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Deputy Mayor Singh. Good evening, councilors and the council staff. My name is Sukhvinder Chima. I am speaking on behalf of our community. I'm just going to do a conclusion of what we all spoke right now. And our entire neighborhood stands united. Every family directly affected because of this proposal does not reflect promises, safety, or character of the Vale Homes of Humber community that we invested into peak times. We stand together and we do not accept a change that will permanently damage the safety, property, value, and harmony of this community. Before I conclude, I want to briefly summarize the key concerns raised by our community, which is compatibility with existing neighborhood, decline in property values, traffic and safety issues, high-density safety issues, pollution, impact on environmental and green space, school shortage and education crisis, park and community space shortage. And together, these points make one thing clear: the zoning amendment will harm the safety, value, and quality of our life in our neighborhood. The city promotes adding second and third units, yet there's already no parking. As we said, homes that exist today, 178 stacked townhouses are added, and the concern with no parking will grow. Existing false promises of driveway sizes our community faces today. There's also no space for stretchers or emergency vehicles, and very little privacy left for residents. We wouldn't have purchased these homes had we known this change was coming. There's also a church already being built right beside us, which will add more traffic, parking, safety concerns. The combination of both projects is simply too much for this area to handle. We were told that the phase two would include large 3-car garages, homes, not townhomes. Would be ravine lots, which will increase the value of our houses that we're investing into. We invested $2 million, $2.5 million to our properties. We also pay the highest amount of property taxes. We bought these homes for a reason, for space, peace, and the character of the low-density community. It is misleading now to see a proposal of 178 stacked townhomes in the area originally zoned semi-detached homes. When residents buy homes based on an official city plan, they trust that the zoning and the density rules will remain consistent. Changing it without considering the existing community's investment undermines public trust in the city's planning process. Take a look around at our own area. If it doesn't fit the zoning or design of our community. These stacked townhouses will block view, which many of us paid premiums for. We paid premiums for our lots, and the property values will be lower. Across Brampton, residents have already raised numerous complaints about the stacked townhouses, development, lack of space, privacy, overcapacity problems. Why expand a model that has already brought up concerns elsewhere, one of which was not approved, where the development ideas of stacked townhouses not working was urged to explore altogether? Why bring those same plans here? We want to make it very clear every resident on both affected streets is strongly opposed to this amendment. We respectfully ask council to listen to our voice and refuse the developer's application. If the project moves forward, it will drastically affect our quality of life, safety, and property value, all along going against the city's own planning principles of compatibility and responsibility growth. Development should take place where it makes sense. It is marketed to the community beforehand. Let's ensure development Brampton continues to grow responsibly with safety, space, and respect for existing residents who already have lived. I know it could be done. While I was doing a little research, I came across the same. We would also like to present a case where the application was refused, similar to our case, project application to amend the zoning bylaw to Bartley Bowl Parkway, Ward 3, Brampton, by Bosefields Inc. on behalf of Lit Willow Holdings Inc. Holdings Limited. Outcome of the application was refused by the planning development community. The reasons for refusal were the proposed development was not compatible with the surrounding characters or of the existing build. The size and the scale of the development has caused undue traffic impact on existing community considering nearby approved developments. The development would have negatively affected the ecosystem of nearby parks and creeks. The relevance to our situation is like our community. This was the case where high-density development was proposed and is established in low-density neighborhood. The city refused the application highlighting compatibility, neighborhood character, traffic concerns, and environmental impact. This precedent shows that the city council has rejected similar proposals, reinforcing the argument that the developer current plan for that area should be refused for the same reasons. I really appreciate it, and I want to thank you again. Just to let you guys know, I understand, sorry, I know my time's up. We work as a family. We're not community, we're family where we are residing. As my little child over here said, you know, we wouldn't be safe over there. We bought these homes at a peak time. Right now, every house has a mental stress person right now because of the depression of the high prices that we have paid. Every house has a person who is in depression medicine, including myself, because of the highest prices that we have paid. And if this comes in, the prices will go down, and our children don't have future. I might live for another 20 years, but you know what? My kids are going to develop this area. And if my kids are going to face that, and myself paying $2.7 million for the house, they're not going to have the value. They're not going to be able to afford this. And I request all of you, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your delegation. Next, welcome.
Hello, thank you for letting me speak at this opportunity. My name is Maharshi Patel, and today I stand before you to express my opposition to the development of the stacked homes near the estate homes. This issue threatens our essence of the community's character as well as our values and our future. As representatives of our community, it is our responsibility to protect the unique character and quality of life that the estate homes brings to our neighborhoods. The construction of the stacked townhomes near the estate homes opposes significant challenges that outweigh any potential benefits. While it may offer some housing options, it risks and undermines the distinctive charm that define our community. Privacy will be compromised with these stacked homes near my home especially. We must approach this as a firm stance and prioritize the preservation of our community's integrity. It is essential to engage in open and transparent dialogue with the residents to find a solution that may maintain the sanctity of our estate homes and address the housing needs that complement the character of the community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your delegation. So as we have no other delegations, we want to remind everybody, if you do have any questions, you can always send them into the city of Brampton, send them into the planner, and they'll respond that we receive your questions, and all questions will be incorporated into the staff report. Once that report is ready, you will all be notified. Anybody that asks, that sends in questions, or anybody that delegated here today will be notified when that item will be coming back to planning committee for planning to debate the issue. Okay. With that, we have we'll move receipt of the delegations and the item for the public meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Singh. All in favor? That carries. Thank you, everybody. If you're not staying for any other items, then I'll give you a couple minutes to leave quietly now, please. Never seen that. Okay, the next two items were in consent. We'll move to the item that I held, which was the application amendment official plan and zoning bylaw, which our development group Inc. in care of Glenn Schnarr and Associates to permit 3-story commercial building consisting of medical focused offices and retail space. If we can bring the application up and just the area map, there's a slight change that I'd like to make. As per discussions with the consultants prior and the delegation that did delegate at the time of concept plan would be good, I think. Maybe location on map. Oh, we've been hacked. You have to refresh. Just turn it off for 30 seconds and plug it back in. It'll be fine. There we go. So I'd like to close the access to El Camino Way. Having access onto streets like that, isn't. I think we have some of them scattered throughout the city, but inappropriate for the way of life for the people that live across that street. I want to open up the access, a full move access onto Credit View. I understand that the proximity to Tribune and El Camino may come as an issue in the future, but as of right now, for better, if we could see the concept plan, and it was talked about at the time whether they could move the building that's situated and move it potentially over further, covering more of the El Camino. So I'd like to move that we approve in principle. But I want the discussion to go back to the developers for them to come back with an alternate plan for have that full move access on Credit View and the no access onto El Camino. Okay, but again, approved here today in principle, but for you to go back to the developer to provide that. Any questions from staff? We're good? Excellent. Been moved by myself. All in favor? That carries. Next item was Bill 60. I referred that to committee at that time, though, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The next item then, referred matters list. We have the city initiated report, residential rental conversion and demolition bylaw. I'm also looking for us to, for some additional information. But we do have delegations, so I'd like the delegations, I'd like to provide them with the opportunity, of course, to come up and speak to it. So I'll go to the delegation list, which we have first Michelle Bielek from Peel Poverty Action Group, and I think Michelle's online.
That's correct. Yes, I am.
Hi, Michelle. You have 5 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Great. Thank you so much, Council, for allowing me to speak today on behalf of the Peel Poverty Action Group in relation to this new bylaw. So I just wanted to state that throughout Canada today, 15 lower rent affordable homes are lost for every one home added to the market. And I might add, at a considerable subsidy cost under federal and provincial, territorial funded programs, as well as municipal development charges. This means our taxpayers are paying for the loss of housing due to the financialization by private development. The lessons from this data is that not enough focus most of our focus is being on adding new supply, and that's both market and affordable. But it really is critical in these conversations to address the slow erosion of affordable housing to investment and investors and plug the holes in the bottom of the proverbial housing investment bucket, a solution that is currently absent here in Brampton. The newly proposed residential conversion bylaw and demolition bylaw will proactively address both renovations and demolitions in your community. And so Peel Poverty Action Group believes that this bylaw is a progressive step to not only prevent the loss of low-income rental buildings and the eviction of low-income community members, but this bylaw will also incentivize developers to really work with the city and the region on temporary accommodations for residents and the return of residents to these new and renovated properties at a rental rate close to their previous rent. As well, this will curb the already astronomical crisis that we call homelessness in the city of Brampton. The erosion of affordable supply of housing reflects both a lack of new affordable housing options, and including non-market and market housing, and the current market pressures that really do drive rents up well above the affordable level that we used to previously consider affordable. So this current state is also enabled by the exemptions to rent control regulations that allow landlords to raise rents to whatever the market can bear if the unit is vacant. Therefore, I'm also asking council to consider a secondary measure by the city to address rent decontrol, and this be a policy that the city should also consider. Much of the loss of affordable housing options is relative in that units that still exist do so at much higher rents. In other cases, the loss of housing is definitely obsolete. For example, the 55 Balmoral building and other lower rent properties that are being demolished as the city seeks to intensify, especially in our core transit areas. No doubt some rental properties are also lost to the short-term rental market, such as Airbnb. So the current condo market, we've seen a decline, and it's proven that the need for livable mixed residential affordable rental properties is actually desired for our flourishing community. This means that a priority should be on the approvals for rental properties of various kinds and the sustainability at the same time of rental properties that actually are still available. The proposed rental and conversion bylaw is an essential step to plug the hole in the affordable housing loss bucket. Currently, billions of dollars from multi-jurisdictional funding sources, program incentives to building new units has resulted still in the loss of affordable and livable homes. So we at the Peel Poverty Action Group, as well as its members, support the proposed bylaw so that any purpose-built rentals in the city of Brampton are protected by the financialization and speculation of low to moderate housing and prevent the eviction of low-income legacy tenants. The City of Brampton's Planning Committee must prioritize the current needs of all of its residents, and that starts with the protection of low-income rental housing options that are direly needed and the residents who live in them and call them home. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Can I have Mia Steos? Mia? Hi, welcome. Come on up here.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Go ahead, Mia.
My name is Mia, of course. I just wanted to, I was here at the last meeting, but it is not fair that the tenants that are being protected and the rich developers are from having profit while destroying affordable housing, seniors, people with disabilities, and people that need to keep their affordable housing. Oh, wait, wrong. So, I was invisibly homeless for almost 2 years, about 23 months, which like I mentioned, I spoke at the last meeting. Peel Housing and many others have really worked hard to help me secure an affordable market rent unit using Canada Ontario Housing Benefit. I'd like to thank Councillor Pat Fortini and his sidekick that you mentioned the name for me.
Councillor Power?
Power.
Yes.
Rod Power,
Rod
yes.
Power. Councillor Power, yes.
It was Rod Power, sorry. And Graham McGregor's MPB office, receptionist Nikki for their support during my stressful, difficult time of need. On October 30th, 2025, I just moved into my new apartment and I'm looking forward to having an independent life of myself, being in a building safe and secured. The tenants at 507 Balmoral deserve the same respect and protection. It's very unacceptable to be displacing tenants where will they go? There are 36,000 plus on the central waiting list. Don't add on top of the 36 plus. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next, we have Lindsay Blackwell, Melissa Goldstein, Megan Key, on behalf of the No Demo Evictions team. Oh, they're online. Perfect.
Yeah, hi, it's just Lindsay today. Everyone had other things I had to get to. I hope that's all right.
Yes, for sure. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Okay, thank you so much. So good evening, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Lindsay Blackwell, and I'm speaking today on behalf of No Dem Evictions. We're a coalition that supports tenants across Ontario who are facing displacement due to demolition and redevelopment of their rental homes. So I want to be clear from the start that we're not against building new housing. We're not NIMBYs, like the not in my backyard folks. We're DRIMBYs, which means develop responsibly in my backyard. Dem evictions are not responsible development. They destroy existing affordable rental housing and displace tenants who are more often than not low income, seniors, and racialized or marginalized communities. Over the past few years, we've worked directly with tenants in Toronto and elsewhere in the province who have lived through dem evictions. And I want to share what we've learned because Brampton is now standing at the same crossroads. When older, more affordable rental buildings are demolished, it doesn't just remove units from the market. It destroys homes, communities, and lives. In Toronto, I've seen this up close. Elderly tenants terrified of losing their homes who've told us that they're now exploring medical assistance in dying because they can't imagine starting over at their age. Before rent gap compensation was increased in Toronto, families were forced to move to other cities just to find something affordable. Their children were pulled from school and their support networks were gone overnight. Some tenants who had mental health challenges and experienced dem eviction are now living in shelters or encampments after being evicted. And that's with rental protections in place. And one tenant who's currently undergoing cancer treatment told me that she'll lose access to her entire medical team if she's forced out of her neighborhood because she can't afford to stay within her hospital's catchment area. These are not isolated stories. They're predictable outcomes when cities allow affordable rental housing to be demolished without strong protections in place. And even when those protections aren't there, and when the protections aren't there, it's municipalities that pay the price. I want to be very clear on this point. Every tenant displaced without adequate compensation or relocation support is at risk of homelessness. The cost of emergency shelters, housing programs, and crisis health care fall directly to the cities. A weak bylaw doesn't save money. It shifts costs from developers to taxpayers while pushing families and seniors into instability in their housing. That's why Brampton's proposed rental demolition and conversion control bylaw is so critical. You have an opportunity to learn directly from Toronto's terrible mistakes and to put real protections in place before large-scale redevelopment takes place, like at Balmoral Drive. Your bylaw must guarantee the right of return for displaced tenants for longer periods of time, and you must do what you can to ensure that the replacement units stay affordable in perpetuity. You should require that there's full rent gap payment compensation for tenants who are being displaced so that they can afford to stay housed through the construction period. You need to mandate a one-for-one replacement of all the lost rental units, especially the affordable and mid-range homes. And you have to make tenant relocation plans enforceable, not just promises on paper. This is one of the biggest sticking points in the city of Toronto right now. Sorry, I have a little one right here. Without these safeguards, Brampton risks accelerating homelessness and deepening inequality. And it's local governments, not just developers, who'll be left to deal with the fallout. And I want to be clear, this isn't just about Brampton. Bill 60 was introduced by the Government of Ontario, and it threatens to erode tenant rights across the province. It could allow landlords to evict tenants way more easily at the end of their leases and weaken security of tenure, one of the few protections that are keeping renters stable in this housing crisis. If Bill 60 passes, even the strongest municipal bylaws could be undermined. So I urge you as local leaders to please take a stand, oppose Bill 60 publicly, and call on the province to protect, not dismantle, the few tenants' rights that remain. Every day, we at No Dem Evictions are seeing the human cost of displacement, seniors giving up hope, families torn apart from their communities, and vulnerable tenants falling into homelessness. Brampton has the chance to prevent this. Please pass a strong rental replacement bylaw, stand up on Bill 60, and protect the homes and residents you already have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next, we have Tanya Burkhart. Tanya? Sorry. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, committee members, city staff, and all of our community members here today. This proposed bylaw makes me both happy and sad at the same time. The right to return in the case of demolition or conversion doesn't exist in the RTA. I hope 507 Balmoral tenants, Peel Acorn members, and community supporters are celebrating this victory. Our persistent organizing, actions, rallies, meetings, and more have helped to create something that didn't exist before. The sum of our efforts is a bylaw that could change the way buildings and our homes are demolished. This is absolutely a win, and I hope tenants and supporters of this bylaw take time to celebrate this victory. Thank you to the 507 Balmoral tenants for hanging in, and community members and planning staff, Noel and Shannon, for your patience, support, and hard work. This victory is also bittersweet because rent gap payments and moving expenses will be paid by the tenants after their homes are demolished. Financial ruin and homelessness will occur, while developers are not held responsible and make millions. The affordable replacement units will only remain affordable for 10 years, but attaching it to the title is kind of a unique solution because for 10 years, those units will remain stable. Tenants cannot be rent-evicted or harassed out of these units. They will stay affordable for truly 10 years. You got that right. We did not get everything we wanted or needed in this bylaw. There will be a 2-year review in 2028. The stories and experiences and impacts for the 507 Balmoral tenants will be the direct evidence of what has worked and what needs to change. Today, I am celebrating, grieving, and standing in solidarity with the tenants at 507 Balmoral. Please know that this work isn't finished, and that your future stories and experiences are still unwritten. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next, we have Benjamin R. Charbois, Cohen Hiley LLP on behalf of the various landowners and multi-residential housing providers. Benjamin, you're online?
Yes, can you hear me, Chair?
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ben Charlebois. I'm from Cohen Hiley LLP. I'm here speaking on behalf of a coalition of multi-residential landlords and housing providers in the city of Brampton. We share the city's goal of encouraging affordable housing, but this bylaw as drafted creates a lot of uncertainty and risks freezing the very housing supply that it is meant to protect. And that's why we're here today. That's why I'm here today. This bylaw sits at the intersection of planning law, the Municipal Act, and the Residential Tenancies Act. And right now, it doesn't feel like it lines up evenly, cleanly with any of them. Before it moves forward, the city should pause and convene a stakeholder working group, planners, lawyers, developers, tenant representatives, to resolve ambiguities and ensure that the bylaw functions in practice and not just on paper. Because full rental replacement as it's currently envisioned is prohibitively costly, and that's why we say it's tantamount to a freeze on redevelopment. Good intentions don't always make good policy. We are asking council to exempt all projects with a complete application and an R1 submission filed before December 31st to ensure fairness and protect housing already in the pipeline. The draft exempts projects currently with approved related applications before January 1st, 2026, but that line, in my estimation, is far too narrow, and here's why. Builders often spend 18 to 36 months and hundreds of thousands of dollars advancing a project, completing studies, engineering work, public consultation, all in compliance with the City of Brampton's municipal objectives, long before formal approval. And if this bylaw is allowed to apply midstream, those sunk costs become stranded pretty much overnight, and viable housing will be lost. So we're asking council to make the transition clause explicit that any project with a complete application and an R1 submission filed on or before December 31st should be exempt. And we believe that that is a fair milestone at which to apply the transition provisions. That simple change would respect investments that are already made in good faith and compliance efforts to comply with existing rules. Our submission also raises various legal and procedural ambiguities, such as overlapping and contradictory sections. For instance, sections 19, 27, and 31 set out different triggers for mandatory permit approval, some of which are mandatory and some of which appear to be discretionary. Section 13 appears to require multiple applications for the same project, and Section 27 just has some wonky wording that in our reading could prevent a sixplex owner, for instance, from occupying a vacant unit in their own property. There's also something that was mentioned by a prior speaker with respect to defined term tenancies. That was something that we found in the bylaw as well, which I would note prior term tenancies don't exist. Defined term tenancies don't exist under the Residential Tenancies Act, and it's not clear to us how that would be enforced, if at all. Ambiguity like this, in our perspective, creates legal risk, which invites appeals and discourages reinvestment in the community, especially in older rent-protected buildings that already need reinvestment. And that's why we are raising that flag that this may lead to not just an absence of redevelopment, but an absence of reinvestment and eventual dilapidation of a lot of these buildings and a lot of these communities. So what we're suggesting is just a better path forward with further consultation throughout the community to try to come to solutions to some of these ambiguities. And we're not opposing the regulation. We're not opposing affordable housing. What we're asking is that it be clear, consistent, and workable, because like it or not, it's builders. It's a small community of builders who are putting up housing in the city of Brampton, and there's only so much land on which to build it. And as we've heard from this from this agenda item and from earlier agenda items, there's always a lot of opposition as to where something gets built. Everybody wants more housing. Nobody wants to live near more housing. So in short, it's our hope that we don't pass this bylaw as it's drafted tonight, but that there's some further consultation and opportunity for meaningful engagement with the stakeholder communities and perhaps some committee work that could result in insightful and meaningful changes to this bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next delegation is Adriana Pilkington, Castle Brooks. Is that a L? Pilkington, Castle Brooks, and Blackwell. Hi,
Ye-
welcome.
Well, thank you. It is Pilkington, yes. Adriana Pilkington from Castles Brock and Blackwell. I'm here on behalf of Maybrook Scott, Inc. We did submit a letter to the committee, but the importance of this matter led my client to direct my attendance today to ensure a critical matter was addressed. Like the prior deputant, my client is generally supportive of the city's efforts to protect rental housing. However, we do have a very specific concern related to the transition provision in the bylaw. Like the previous deputant, we are requesting that the bylaw not be adopted as proposed, but further consultation and consideration of the drafting be undertaken to ensure that concerns are addressed with respect to the clarity in the bylaw. I will provide a bit of context for my client in particular. Maybrook is the owner of 80 Scott Street and has been working for several years with the city on a redevelopment of what is currently houses several rental units. The proposal, the project, has been unanimously approved by this council just a couple of years ago. Official plan amendment, zoning bylaw amendment approvals were granted by this council shortly ago. A site plan application is well underway, and Maybrook has been monitoring this item in particular to ensure that its plans and the project that it has advanced and still wishes to advance in this very, very challenging time remains feasible. Approvals take time, and in fairness, the typical approach is that new bylaws, new policies don't apply to ongoing projects. They only apply to new applications. For this project in particular at 80 Scott Street, as I mentioned, it's been planned for several years. It has been approved by this council, but the development process is not complete and further work is being undertaken to get final approvals. Helpfully, in the staff report, staff have acknowledged the transition issue from the previous version of the bylaw and indicated that the bylaw shall only apply to residential rental properties that have not received an approval from council on a related planning application prior to the effective date of January 1, 2026. This was confirmation that Maybrook received with gratitude. However, with respect, the bylaw as drafted doesn't provide the same level of clarity. And so again, we're asking for further consultation and confirmation from those that the city has already helpfully engaged with to ensure that the bylaw does provide what staff intended to provide for a suitable transition for applications that are already in the pipeline and struggling to bring those projects to fruition. Thank you for the opportunity to provide these comments.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next, we have Sylvia Roberts. Sylvia?
Hello, my name is Sylvia Roberts. I'm a resident of Ward 3. I have spoken many times at the planning committee about how we need to make it simpler in order to move forward developments. On this, I actually agree with Acorn to a substantial degree on the need for the demo eviction control. If you look at the amount of housing stock and development sites in the city, we have very few rental housing, and there is a lot of land that very much could be redeveloped. For example, there's the Heart Lake Town Center, which is, you're familiar with. So I'm not talking about an actual application on there, but see, here's the thing. So right now, the reason the developers are often concerned about preventing redevelopment is in the city of Toronto, they will do things like saying, it's fine to tear down a 15-story apartment building, and the developers do that. But then if you look at Yonge and Eglinton, there's single detached houses literally across the street from a subway station that's about to be at the intersection of right there. There are places where we could expand land for access. Part of the issue is if you have a confined amount of land for redevelopment, then as the available housing land for redevelopment goes down, the landowners keep jacking up how much they want. So I've seen, I think one case in Toronto, a gas station sold for $80 million or something just nonsensical like that. So there are places where the city can and should look at expanding land. However, the amount of rental housing stock we have is small, and this bylaw will make it more difficult to redevelop and demolish these buildings. However, And I know a number of these buildings are at their midlife where they do need a significant amount of work. There are other tools the city could use in order to ensure that these buildings can be fixed up and continue to be lived in. In Toronto, what you will often see is many of the places that are relatively affordable in terms of rent cost do incredibly poorly on rent-safe housing, and then the owner goes forward and does a number of above guideline increases, and suddenly it goes from being very poor in housing quality to much higher. That's one way you can deal with it. Another way is that currently older apartment buildings are taxed at a much higher rate than regular residential housing stock. And we actually have a new lower property tax rate for new apartment buildings. One thing the city could do in order to ensure those buildings can be properly taken care of is enter an agreement with the landlord to move it from the existing rental housing rate to the new lower rate that's matched with the residential in order to pay for those improvements to the building so that the residents don't get hit with large above guideline increases, and there also isn't the pressure to tear down the building because there simply isn't money in order to pay for those redevelopments. 10 years is not enough. It just isn't. And when you see a staff report say best practices, what they mean is this is what other people are doing at present staffing levels, having seen how much work is put on the individual planner. I recognize there's only so much time and sometimes you just need to get something out. And part of the issue is that means there isn't the time to sit back and think about why did X city come with this solution? Maybe we actually are trying to solve a different problem. So you might have, they had a similar problem, this is what they did, but there's some structural differences in the problem Brampton has. And so if you copy that, it's the wrong answer because you're, not because it's necessarily a bad answer, but because it's solving a fundamentally different problem. In Toronto, they've decided it's important to preserve single-family homes across the street from subway stations, and it's fine to tear down 15-story apartment buildings that have a lot of low-income people living in there. I would strongly recommend the city think about this and think, is that actually the kind of city you want to build? Do you want to say, yes, it's great to throw out a whole bunch of low-income people and it's not very well managed for where they're supposed to live after that? Or potentially, maybe we look at expanding the development land close to the major transit where people who own their houses sell them and then they're redeveloped. It doesn't make sense to, I mean, Balmoral does not have fantastic transit access. We gotta be honest with that. But there's plenty of places that actually have much better transit access that aren't seeing this kind of upzoning. And the reason for that is because the zoning doesn't allow it and it's considered too risky to move forward on it. So think this through before you make final decisions on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And based off of that, thank you all for coming. Based off of that, I think, first I'd like to start by thanking staff for all the work that they've put on this initiative. This was a request by Councillor Power, and thank you, Councillor Power, for, you certainly are putting your residents first and trying to come up with a way that they're protected, and I think that they feel that. And I think you've heard that here today, so really want to thank you for starting this initiative. We all supported you when you wanted to start this, and we continue to support you in your community here today. So at the request of Councillor Power and Council, when we first asked staff to look at this initiative, since then the city has taken significant steps to support the housing supply. Since then we had the big dip, and you heard residents talk about it a little bit today, that the housing that they purchased then is certainly not the value of that house today. And we see right across the city how that's affecting many of our residents. The rental supply in Brampton has never been the best. We've always been pretty competitive, but we've in terms of the competitive side, on the low side, I think the numbers is that what we have always heard, but we've never been, we've never had a great supply. And, you know, Mayor Brown and council certainly put forward the initiative for the Purpose-Built Rental Initiative Program, offering 100% DC reductions for apartments. And being capped at, I think we're 5,000 units. We had to up it to 5,000, even though we said, let's do 2,000. That went like that. And then we've upped it now to 5,000, making sure that those rental tenures are up to the minimum 25 years, you know. So I think that's one initiative. The regional DC incentive, 50% reduction, is another initiative. The Brampton Plan, of course, the establishing the policy framework around the increase of housing densities right across our major transit station areas. So with those initiatives and everything that's happening, it's almost like you want to be in that competitive environment where, you know, you want, right now, is there places for people to go? No, there's no real supply. But with these initiatives, I think that's driving what the supply, you know, what it should be in Brampton, certainly, and not necessarily pushing people down into a basement. For me, I don't want my children, I don't want my mom, you know, living in a basement. I don't want that. And sometimes we live in the world today where that's what the supply is currently out there. So I think with a lot of these initiatives supported by council, you know, getting 5,000 units, and hopefully we can build off of that and increase that number. I think we truly need an evaluation and the impact that that's going to have with the programs on purpose-built rentals, with the regional incentives, advancing new rental housing across Brampton. And with just those items, that's why I'd like to, I see Councillor Power on the floor, so I'm not going to say the word, but I think you know what I'm getting at, to, you know, back to staff, to look at, you know, this potential increase in the rental units, so that, you know, then you can start looking at the redevelopment. The development has to be there, you know, right across the city. And then, you know, redevelopment is something that happens often, but you have Mississauga redeveloping, you know, because they're built out. Brampton's not built out yet, right? But with that, Councillor Power.
Thank you, and through the chair, and I understand what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying, and I think this council has done, in the last couple of years, has done massive strides in looking at affordable housing initiatives, whether it be through Habitat for Humanity or raising the stock to 5,000 from 2,000. I know where you're going with it, like you said. I would like to add a friendly to that while we're in deferral, that we look at it on a case-by-case basis, because there are a couple units or a couple buildings that are out there that are not massive in size, and I think there's a better solution for it.
So that has nothing to do with the deferral, but that is an excellent idea that it is looked on. The development is looked on a case-by-case basis, but that's something completely separate. The deferral of the program will be the deferral, but then, you know, and really it has to do with, you know, what's being built or rebuilt in your area, for you to set that. But that's something that maybe we can, you know, this referral doesn't actually have any legs until it goes to council. So maybe there's something that you can put on at the next committee meeting to say all development or redevelopment opportunities will be looked at a case-by-case basis. That's a fantastic idea. Thank you, Councillor Power. Councillor Keenan, before I put the deferral on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, thank you, Councillor Power, for bringing this forward. Obviously, we're doing amazing strides here as council, not only just in the rental market, but in the affordable rental market, trying to do as much funding as we can to certain items to make houses affordable. So we'll support a referral based on some of the information that I did here today, but also will definitely support whatever you bring forward to deal with it on a case-by-case basis, because it's so important and there is things that may need to be done in the meantime, while we figure it out and get it 100% correct, I'll be happy to support both when it comes. That's all I need. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. And I think this just confirms that, you know, with what the development industry wants, you know, yeah, it's our job to listen, but it's our job to really listen what the residents want. And I think you certainly heard that from, you know, Councillor Power and all the way along is what you want is what essentially, you know, what we want to be able to deliver. So do I care if a developer wants to redevelop something? Nope, don't care. It's got nothing to do with us, really. But until that stock's out there and there's other opportunities for our residents, then that and only then do we look at other ways of handling it. So thank you, Councillor Power. I'll move. It's a deferral to staff. Yep. Yeah, I'm not referring it to a committee or anything. I'm deferring it to staff because of all the items that it's time, right? I'm not asking for it to come back. In the future. You want to refer it to staff based off of the items that we have put in place.
So maybe just for further review period.
Okay.
Is that enough for staff?
Yeah, I believe if through the chair, if the council's desire is to refer it back to staff to take some of those points back, I think that's, yeah, refer back to staff for further review. Thanks.
Great. Okay, so moved. All in favor? That carries. Nobody online, I see. Okay, I'll also with the correspondence and the items. Have those correspondence go with referral as well, please. General correspondence, council. So the public question period. Any members of the public like to come up and ask anything that was on the agenda here today? Now is the time to do so. Come on up. Yep. Please state your name for the record.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Craig, live at 507 Balmoral, a resident there. Some of the question, actually, I just wanted to kind of confer is, I understand that there is progress in place, and I thank you, Rod Power, for, you know, kind of putting the move on this. There are some still hiccups, and I'm just trying to, you know, get back in the wave of things, but obviously there are some issues that are still concerning to some of the tenants. So some of those issues are, you know, if this development happens, we do have a plan that you can return to the units, you know, at the same pricing or cost or whatever. But in the process of where are we going to go in that process? That's the main thing, because there's a lot of elderly people. And just some other hiccups, as you know, just with that. And then also like the moving, like, you know, where do you move your stuff to? It costs and stuff. And with a lot of seniors, disabilities, they don't have the funding. You know, a lot of them are living on pension. Where are they going to put their stuff while the stuff is happening? And then, you know, getting the help to do that. In this building right now, I mean, I'm in, you know, the 50s, 57. There's a lot of elderly people older than myself, and we've had some struggles in the past 2 months with the elevator not working, you know, waiting on parts, which is totally unacceptable. They've already been fined. I think it's a little bit of a slap in the wrist, $250 to $500 from the city, which is peanuts. So I would like to address those concerns with you guys to let you know about that. We've had issues with no hot water, where we've gone for days with no water. I have dates on that, which I'll probably give an email to Rod Powers on those. So I believe that the Drake property, I don't know what their issues are, if they're trying to, antagonize the tenants, harass the tenants into doing all of these malicious things. But 2 months without having an elevator, which people need, and then myself at 57 tracking up and down the stairs with laundry, cases of water, groceries for other tenants, not only myself, but helping other tenants in the units as well, because it's only it's 4 flights of stairs, but some people are in wheelchair, canes, you know, it's a little bit hard for them. So we've all been kind of pitching in and helping out, because we're a very group knit kind of family oriented, only having, you know, so many units. You know, cleaning the apartment building itself, the laundry room, mopping the floors, you know, is really not maintained. We're doing that ourselves as well. You know, and then just currently, yesterday, they started ticketing our own parking spaces that we're living in and pay for, giving us tickets, saying that we're parked in an authorized parking spot and charging us $80. There's a new rental parking, they have their own parking permits, which is not through the city. It's their own parking thing that they want us to pay for parking for tenants, visitors. But now they're tagging our cars, telling us that we're not parked in an authorized spot, which we actually pay for ourselves out of our rent. So I'm not too sure what's really going on, but there's a lot of stuff going on with these Drake people, and then trying to get a hold of them, you can't reach them. So it's getting a little bit frustrating. So I just want you to look at a lot of these other issues and concerns that are happening in this this building that we're in. You know, the tenants are kind of holding strong, and we're really trying to, you know, network and help each other. But there are some still factors that need to be looked at as far as the structure of protecting the tenants moving and things like that. So if you could look at those things, I would be greatly appreciated, since a lot of us have been there quite some time, including myself, for over 20-something years. So I just hope you can do that for us. I'd be greatly appreciated.
Who's giving you the parking tickets?
Drake, well, it's the Drake property. They have a new sign up apparently at the visitors parking spot. We only have about maybe 7 or
But
8.
who's issuing the tickets?
Well, it's somebody coming around and dropping tickets on a vehicle from Drake property. I guess who's assigned these people. I don't know who they are. I mean, it's not from the city. Not from the city of Brampton.
Okay.
No,
All right. Just making
but
sure.
it just boggles me that these things are happening and things are not being addressed. Like, you know, like I said, you issued them fines, but $250 with an elevator not working for 2 months. Like, it's really crazy.
So this is a case of, thank you for your
yeah, you know,
delegation.
so these things need to be looked at.
I'm
All
sure
right.
Councillor Power certainly wants to add some comments, but I'm,
Mm-hmm.
Councillor Power, if there's a case of, you know, a slumlord, you know,
Yeah.
in the city of Brampton, and some of these things are accurate, like, it sounds like there's severe bullying going on.
Exactly.
There's no bigger bully of bullies than me and you. So what would you like to do? And I'm happy to support you in any way, going forward.
Yeah, any help and support we can get, you know, would be great, because it's just getting to be really ridiculous now. And also our water pressure, now that I've just come back from vacation for 2 weeks on a cruise, has more water than I have right now, and I just came back, it's like drizzling out. I'm like, this is ridiculous. The water pressure now in the apartments it's like dripping out. You can't even have a proper shower. It's like you're just like wondering if the water's coming. It's pretty bad. Like, tenants are getting frustrated. It's like, do we have to start smashing our own doors and go into the thermostats and start putting up the water pressure ourselves? Is this how Drake is going to treat the people that have been there all this time, you know, as good tenants, looking after their units, you know, making sure things are kept clean, shoveling, because we don't get, we shovel our own parking spots too. They come, you know, when it's convenient, but we still do all the outside work. We don't have an underground parking system. So we do all of that ourselves, and each of us help out each other too. So, you know, these are a lot of things that are happening, but as a respect of it, we're paying still rent. We're still paying the increases that they ask us to pay. So maybe we need to stop paying those increases, because they're obviously not surfacing the tenants. So these are a lot of things that's been happening that you need to be aware of when coming up with all of these extra things, you know, when they want to rebuild. You know, it's great to hear that, but the other issues are still us being affected living there right now. So
Thank you.
any
you for
help
your
we can
delegation.
get with that, okay? So
Thank
thank you so much.
Councillor Power.
Thank you through the chair. Cheryl, I'm gonna reach out to you. We'll get everything itemized and make sure that we take care of it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none. We have no closed session. That is it for this evening, folks. Our next regular scheduled meeting is Monday, December the 1st, 2025 at 7 p.m. or at the call of the chair. Adjournment's been moved by Councillor Power. All in favor? Have a great night, everybody.